The late afternoon sun spilled gently over the neat hedge and brick-lined streets of Surrey. Inside a modest but elegant home, Arthur Whitmore, 72, sat quietly at the edge of the kitchen table, his callous hands folded in his lap. He'd spent his entire life working as a railway engineer, raising his only son, Daniel, after his beloved wife, Margaret, passed away far too early. Every corner of this house carried memories. The nursery wallpaper still faded from where Daniel used to tape drawings. The creaky stair he never got around to fixing. The kettle that always whistled half a second too soon. But this no longer felt like home. "Here," said Amelia, Daniel's sharp-tonned wife, tossing a wet rag toward Arthur's chest. "You missed a spot, Arthur. Wipe the floor. You're not a guest here. This isn't a hotel." Arthur flinched, not at the rag, but at the words. She didn't even call him Dad, not even Mr. Whitmore, just Arthur like he was staff. He glanced at Daniel, who stood nearby, silent, eyes averted again. Amelia clapped her hands. "Well, don't just sit there like a statue." Arthur slowly picked up the rag from the floor and with quiet dignity stood. But inside his heart cracked a little more. That evening after dinner, which he made as usual, Arthur walked into his room and packed a small suitcase, 2 jumpers, a photo of Margaret, and a small wooden box containing old letters and a deed to the house. Without a word to anyone, he left. For days, Arthur stayed at a quiet countryside inn run by an old friend. It was peaceful, almost painfully so. He wasn't angry, just empty. After all he'd given to raise his son, this was how it ended. Then one morning, he got a call from Charlotte Manning, a solicitor who'd once helped Margaret and him arrange a property trust years ago. "Arthur," she said warmly, "I heard about the situation. Shall we remind them what the paperwork actually says?" The next afternoon, a black car pulled up outside the Whitmore house. Arthur stepped out wearing his best coat. Charlotte beside him. Amelia opened the door, visibly annoyed. "What now?" Arthur didn't speak. He simply handed her a document. Charlotte explained, her voice calm, but firm. This property was placed in a life trust owned by Mr. Whitmore. His son was allowed to live here under the agreement that Arthur would remain respected and cared for until the end of his life. Daniel emerged from the hallway. His face pale, Charlotte continued. "Since Mr. Whitmore was forced to leave due to emotional mistreatment, that clause has been violated. Legally, the house reverts to Mr. Whitmore's sole control. You both are required to vacate within 30 days. Amelia blinked. "This is ridiculous. You can't just, I'm pregnant." Arthur looked at her, his voice gentle. "Then I hope you raise your child better than you treated me." Daniel tried to speak, but no words came. Back in the quiet living room, Arthur sat in the same armchair he once held baby Daniel in. The same fireplace glowed, same ticking clock. He leaned down and picked up the old cleaning rag still on the floor, folded it, placed it in the bin. Then, with a deep breath, he smiled faintly and whispered, "Turns out the maid still owns a manor.